Good morning, everybody. How y'all doing today?
Great.
Y'all doing good today?
Doing beautiful, man.
All right,
Yes,
here we are. 100 Years Enterprise, Season 6, Episode 1, Consequences of the Street Life. We've been doing this episode, this topic for the last, year or so right now?
Yeah, about a year.
Been riding it. Been riding this topic. It's a great topic. And but our very first guest, good brother, we've been knowing him for a long, very long time. Esteemed brother, very pure. He's intentional. He's humble. He's come from a long background of family lineage, doing good things and positive things out here in Richmond. But before we go any further, I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Fahim.
Dante,
Patrick.
And Dante, who we had today?
we got one of my longtime partners, Jason Green from Richmond, California. And I just want to say thank you, brother, for appearing on the show. Truly a blessing, right? I want you to give the peoples a little bit about you, who you are, and where you come from, and where you been.
Okay. Firstly, most definitely, it's a real honor and a real pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me.
Yes, sir.
It's much appreciated, man. Y'all doing so much in the community. Y'all touching a lot of people from all over the place.
Yes, sir.
People say, "Hey, that's good with y'all do with the kids," but they don't understand that we doing this for everybody.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Because it's these kids that we looking at, that we looking after. That's when we walking out of a Safeway, a Walgreens, a bank. We looking over our shoulders at these kids.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
And just for me is my mom got robbed at gunpoint. So it's just not the kids. Right. We really helping society as a whole. So again, man, just an honor and pleasure to be here. My name is Jason Green. I did 28 years in prison off a 17-year life sentence. And external validation is heavy in our community, and our community, particularly the African American community.
Yes, sir.
And I'm pretty sure y'all know it comes from slavery. The master handing his clothes down to the house Negro, and he going out and showing out in front of field slaves. So we put value based on what we see each other have.
Yes.
The materials, possessions. So that's how we was growing, especially us growing up. I mean, we damn near starting in the 80s.
Yep.
Out there drug dealing, and it wasn't to get money to bring back home. Let me put food on the table. Let me help my little sister. Them go. Whatever.
Yeah.
It was just man. I'm just getting emotional thinking.
Just take your time. I already know.
Not bringing, not helping the family.
Yes.
Everything is for, to show I have value. The chains I wear, the shoes we go to Oxford Street.
Right.
You remember that? Let's go tear Oxford Street up. All for appearance.
Yes.
All for appearance. And that's the way the majority of African Americans in our culture live their life.
Definitely.
And a lot of times that's how we see people. We look at their value. Let me see if you got anything materialistic first. And that's how I grew up.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing that, J-Bo. Appreciate that.
And that's deep when you say external value, because I think today, youngsters, youth, they don't know how to equate that value with who they are and why they need to be accepted. You know what I mean? And so with that, what led you to say, I know the value, but say, I want to come out here and start selling some dope, selling drugs?
Well, for me, at first it was a little different. When I was playing for the Richmond Steelers, and my mom, she had $50. She say, and you remember the price used to be $50.
Yeah.
The football fee. And so she say, you need a school coat too. You getting a school coat. So I got the $50, Actually gave me $60, and never thought about selling drugs, but I was always going down Pennsylvania 7th Street, P7.
yeah.
You know, so I came, kind of accustomed to, the surroundings, some of the dudes, and some of the guys, they gave me quarters to play the games and whatever have you. So, so when I got that $60, went and bought 3 breakdowns.
What's a breakdown? Come on, what's a breakdown?
So rocks is $20. We already know rocks is $20. So the older drug dealers, they'll sell us, the younger people trying to come up, they sell us breakdowns for that same price, $20, except the rock could be bigger. The cocaine rock could be bigger.
Yeah.
And maybe you can cut 3 rocks from it. Sometimes maybe 3, but most of the times 2.5. You might get a $50 or whatever. And so I got the breakdowns. First day on the block, brother come put a gun to my head. Didn't give him nothing. I didn't know you were supposed to. The older G's, they told me, hey, bro, next time get that dude your stuff. Don't risk your life for that. So later that night, brother drove off with my drugs, and I'm hanging on to the car door. From P7 Dana all the way to the Barrett Apartments. That's about like 2 blocks.
How old was you though?
I was 14 years old.
14 years old.
I was 14 years old. But the money came so fast that night, I was right back on the block the next day. Because I said, you know what? I can only get the school coat and pay the football fee. I go buy me a neck brace. I could go buy some pads, some gloves, and Bolus Mark over here on McDonald.
Yeah.
So I could, and I get to eat after the game. That was some stuff, we grew up without money.
Yeah, exactly.
So I said, you know what, I'm going to be doing this for a good little while. I still want to play football. I still want to play pros, but hey, it's rolling now, So after that, it was cats coming, pulling up to the block, guys around the different neighborhoods that used to play for the Steelers with us, that got in the drug game. Hey, boy, you ain't balling no more? I'll be back.
Yeah.
It was always, I'll be back. I'm going to start playing again. But once I was in the streets, now you from a particular place. Now, if they don't like somebody, you with us.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now it's, okay, we don't like them. Not that you just don't like, we don't like them now. And then that's where the BS start.
Exactly.
I got to get in this one here, J-Bo, because this is interesting, right? So what I want the audience to identify, because that was deep what you said, how your criminal thinking started. Because when your mom gave you the $60, right, it hadn't started yet.
No.
Right, so you pivot and you seen, okay, I want my coat and I want to pay for my football pass, right? When you hit the block, that's when your criminal thinking started?
Actually, yeah. When I hit the block, I had never stole none of the stuff. It was just, I was just doing something to make something happen.
Okay.
You know how you supposed to do it.
Yeah.
You don't got something, all right, get in the game, make it happen, and get out. We make a living in it.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was leading to.
Right.
So that was your decision in your criminal thinking. That you started your criminal thinking right then and there.
Right then and there.
Right, because it came from here. I'm gonna get in and give me some money.
Right.
Then kind of explain how it just turned into a lifestyle, because you got what you needed, but you kept coming back, so it turned into a lifestyle.
Yeah.
Kind of depict that. Explain that part of it. How the rush of it.
Well, it turned into the lifestyle because, who's not chasing money?
Yeah.
Right.
Especially at a young age.
Period.
Yeah.
Who's not chasing money? Then it was with the girls. It didn't even matter if you was cute. What you got? What you looking like? What you riding in? And me not being solid to, who I am. I kind of let everybody else dictate, and I became a product of other people's ideas, and all that. And so what are y'all doing? Okay, I see y'all doing this. I'm doing it too. I could remember going on my way to a Run DMC concert.
Oh my God.
And me and a few of my partners, we got on Cincinnati gear, right? So I'm going to Hilltop. I'm going to Foot Locker to get me some Adidas.
Yeah.
With the fat strings. Now this is 86. I go in there, Big John in there. He got some feelers in his hand, some red feelers. I say, what's them? He say, don't worry about it. You can't afford them.
Wow.
That's
How did that make you? How did that make you feel when he said that?
Well, because I didn't have total self-confidence in myself and who I was.
Yeah.
You know, I succumbed to the pressure. Hey, give me them. My partner's like, bro, you finna break yourself. Give me them. I'm gonna step up in this concert looking good.
That's right.
Period. You know,
Yeah.
external validation, man.
External about that's
And-
really
So
tough.
that was the lifestyle piece that you embraced.
That's a lifestyle piece that I embraced, because then, like, I never got a chance to like have all the latest clothes and the latest shoes and my mom. We never had that kind of money.
Right.
Now I got that kind of money. I ain't got all of it, but at least I can go buy me some fits.
Yeah.
Because this is what's being accepted now, and then you being teased for not being on top of your game. You know, so
Absolutely.
So even with what you just said for us being validated, right? When I'm looking at some of these youngsters today, right? You know, a lot of these youngsters don't have a whole lot, and so they feel how you was feeling back in the days. So what can you say to these youngsters that's out here that's gonna see this podcast? Even I, it's gonna, different people gonna see this podcast. What can you say to them to lead them or to give them an idea that, hey, if I go this way, this is what's gonna happen? Because see, a lot of times we don't think about the consequences. We just think about what we see other people doing. That's cool. And we don't think about, going to jail or hurting somebody. So what could you say? Because I know when you was doing the things that you was doing, even all of us, we wasn't thinking about going to jail or who we might hurt or who we might kill or how they gonna feel.
Impact.
And we didn't think about any of that. So if you can elaborate on that, please do.
So what I tell the kid, well, I call them kids 'cause I'm in my 50s. What I tell the youngsters is ask yourself questions of why you doing what you're doing. A lot of us, we never did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why am I doing this? Why am I buying this? And sometimes if you do, it'll bring your ego, into play, and that's what you want. Because it's hard. The majority, 90-something, I could say this, 90-something% of people is followers.
Yeah.
We followers. And so when you young, a lot of times you do whatever it takes just to follow. And so what I do is ask myself questions. This brother, man, it was a trip, man. I was sitting in San Quentin. I just got caught with a phone. And I was telling a brother, man, I was like, yeah, man, the CO, man, he rolled up on me like this and that, and I got it, and I flushed it, it wouldn't go down, and so on and so forth, right? And he was like, is that right? So we standing in front of the Garden Chapel. The Garden Chapel is the church in San Quentin. Okay. That's what they call it. And so he said, hey, bro, he said, man, I want you to open up your Bible, because we was on our way to church. He said, open up your Bible and turn to 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. I didn't know it. And I started going through it. And he said, now read it for me. It was a brother named Pup out of Watts, OG. He said, and it said, when I was a child, I understood as a child. I spoke as a child, thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. And I was like, okay, so what is that saying? I mean, and he was like, what I'm trying to tell you is, he said, when you was on the street, when you was 16, 17 years old, he said, wasn't you hiding stuff from the police, hiding your gun and your drugs and all that? And I said, yeah. He said, here you are at 42 years old. You say you want to get out, but you still hiding stuff from the police, putting stuff on. Made me feel real small.
Yes, exactly.
And he say, man, start asking yourself questions. Where are you? Why are you doing the stuff that you're doing? Man. Why do you want these things? And he said, man, if it was he say, if you could think of some of the stuff that you probably could have asked yourself a long time ago, you know, before you even started, you know, and then, you know, kind of go from there.
Yeah.
So I would just say, man, just continue to ask yourself questions of why are you doing it? Is it worth it?
Exactly.
You know, you guys always on social media, you know, pay attention to the laws at least. If you're going to do anything, at least know what you're going to get if you get that. That kind of stop them too.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
That's a good man.
Appreciate that.
I want to go back a little bit because I like to make this connection. When you first came off the porch and you say you broke that breakdown, right? The double up or whatever. At age 14, and then you look at yourself now, did you see you was making young entrepreneur decisions as an entrepreneur?
No, I didn't, brother.
All right.
No, I didn't.
So so now thinking back, how did you identify the person that you wanted them to produce your stance into the criminal lifestyle? Meaning that how did you find a person, I wanted to go buy some drugs from him? You understand what I'm saying? How you know that was the person you wanted to go find?
Oh, because like I said, you know, I have been going down there.
Okay.
I have been going down there, and this person I bought drugs from, he didn't give me quarters more than a few times.
So
to
you've
play
been
the video
watching.
game. So I've been watching.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
there, but it was a lifestyle that I never wanted to partake in.
Right.
Because I was seeing what was going on down there, and I said, hey, I was so much out of it that I went and told our coaches, a couple of our coaches, hey, go holler at these dudes right here. These are my partners. This is before I start hanging out.
Right.
Because something is about to happen to them, and we supposed to be playing football.
Yeah.
So it was, again, it wasn't a vision that I had before I got out there to do it. You know, that's not what I really wanted for my life. I wanted to play ball.
Yes.
So it just happened on that one day. Like, this was my decision
Like training.
right here, bam. And then once I seen the money coming from me, I'm like, oh, wait a minute. I might not have to worry about money no more like that. I can go to school, got lunch money, you know, all number kind of things, you know. So the materialistic aspect of it came a little later.
Right. Okay.
You know.
Right. And now, as we see it today, that's what we can see and identify with these young men and young women who getting that instant gratification for these intangible things with the money, the allurement of the cars, the people, whatever it may be. And a lot of them are coming to school because we mentioned the youth, they hungry.
Yeah.
They hungry for something, you know, and oftentimes what I have learned is that they are really scared or had that fearful awareness to talk about what they really need and what was missing. And it was mentors.
And it was mentors. And a few times over the past few months, I got, they had two young individuals from different places. And they said, hey, spend time with us outside your job.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's because they got, in their mind, they got all the game in the world.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
want to see how much you care.
Yeah, exactly.
That's number one.
Exactly.
You know, erase the 100 year, erase the
yep.
Officer Neighborhood, say off that. You know what I'm saying? Take me somewhere on Saturday and Sunday. You know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because my mama, you know,
Yeah.
she probably got other kids. You know, I'm not getting and that's what that was going on with me. I didn't get a lot of some of the attention that I needed.
Yeah.
You know, God bless my mom.
Yeah,
Love
that's
her.
real. That's real.
So, you know,
The love.
the love.
The love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's deep.
Yeah,
bro.
we kind of shared in something like that. We took the kids baseball game, and I see
Yeah.
what you're saying. It was the aha moment of just sitting at the game, eating a hot dog. And
They'll
it's
never
just-
forget that though.
Never.
Right.
They won't ever forget that, man. I still remember to this day. I know y'all do. People that done took the time to take y'all somewhere. Man, I remember I went somewhere with, you know.
Yeah.
You give them that wisdom game. You know, and just don't let it be a one-time thing.
Exactly.
But I think too, right? Just listening to you and listening to all three of you guys is how important the mentor piece is in regards to criminal thinking and credible mentors, right? Criminal thinking, credible mentor, excuse me. It's important, right? Because what we have, we can give them, right? And I noticed that when I talk to them, it's kind of almost like they're gonna bullshit with us for a minute, right? You know, they got all the game in the world until we kind of like say one thing as aha moment. You'll see them go, oh, there it goes. Like bust them out. You know, we never just direct. We just like, yeah, I understand, man. I've been there, man. I snorted coke. I did all that, man. What you talking about, I already did, and did to, and this would have led me. And they be like, ooh. So that makes that credible piece is so important in the mentorship because sometimes I'll put it to you this way. It's important for those who's doing the mentorship, who you are. You can't just throw anybody out on them. Because youngsters are cut off real fast.
Correct.
Right? They go play baseball, as we talk about baseball and all that, and talk about Monopoly and all that. They go, I see them do it.
Yeah.
And it'd be a cold piece. And you be stuck talking and they done already shifted. Right? So you got to be able to gain that trust, like you said, outside of your work prescription, right? Description, I should say. And then allow them to see your authentic self. Show them who you really are.
Yeah.
Right? So they can show. Now it's like, okay, it's a mutual agreement. And that takes time. So, man, I commend you for what you said in the piece. But let me go back to this point to you, because I think this is very valuable. What led you in prison, how was it when you got out? Like, how much of a change your mindset went from the time you went in to when you got out?
Oh, man, it was a whole... man, just thinking about who I was, man, there's nothing even close to that. Wow. It was just amazing, man. And I'm pretty sure for y'all the same way.
Absolutely.
You know, we was just, before the session started, we were speaking earlier about our mentality as far as when we was younger as opposed to how it is now. But what led me on this mission right here is, so I ran into 3 individuals in prison that I had the chance to, I mean, I guess you could say mentor to, you know. One brother in Old Folsom, I always, hey, what's up, OG? And I'll, hey, what's up, man? You know, but nothing else.
Yeah.
And I was one of those dudes that after I felt like I was making strides, you know, I was quick to step back and say, that youngster got the game fucked up. You know, while I'm still on the sideline, ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
So this one individual, he got out and he killed the little girl, accidentally. Shot through the door, killed an 8-year-old girl, you know. Another brother that I was always around, talking to him, he got out, accidentally killed the mother. He was having a shootout with somebody, and the mother was trying to protect her child. And so he ended up going back in. You know, it was another brother that was right next door to me. He was 19 when I was in San Quentin. Y'all remember when we first left?
Yeah.
And went to San Quentin from
Yeah,
Folsom?
yeah.
Okay, it was a young 19-year-old. Now at this point, I'm pretty much done with the BS.
Right.
You know, but I wasn't giving people, you know, strong advice.
Yeah.
And so that young brother that stayed next door, but I stepped back again. This youngster got the game fucked up. You know, he got out, murder, robbery. You know, went to Oakland Hills, tied the dude up, rich dude, so on and so forth. Maybe something could have resonated, you know, with those people. Maybe some of my words would have, and how those people still hanging on to them lives depends on how you believe, you know, God worked, you know. And I said, man, I don't want to lose those opportunities no more.
Exactly.
You know, I don't want to lose those opportunities no more. And it's a far cry from when you're just saying like, what was my mentality when I first came in to now, you know. And again, we was all cellies, we was roommates and all the stuff. man, it's incredible. Man, I'm proud of us.
I know where you was at.
Exactly.
You know,
Exactly.
yeah,
I know
you know what I'm
was there.
saying.
Most definitely.
Right.
Most definitely.
Man, I'm super proud of us, man.
Most definitely.
You know, and so it's just a far cry, man. I didn't even that brother that I used to be, man. You know, I couldn't even. I could relate to him, but it was almost like shameful. Like, bro, how could you did that back then? How could you thought like this back then? You know, and it was, instead of coming to prison and saying, okay, this action got me here, let me start learning.
Yeah.
I went in with the same mentality I had out there, because if you remember when we got locked up, that we was the first ones in from that crack era. You know, and so when we first got there, you remember it was all dudes, young, 18, 19, 20 years old. You know, from Sacramento all the way up, you know, down to San Diego, LA.
Yeah.
You know, young people just like us, still trying to, you know, we tripping off weight benches, we tripping off the tables, we, you know, with the same mentality.
Yeah.
You know, and it took me to, you know, hit a different prison, you know, to be around certain different people, to say, hey, you know, I hear that, but I'm starting to do something different.
I mean, especially, you know, when they start, you know, letting people out, because I know where you was at, because like I said, we were sellies. You know, in Old Folsom, you know, we was sharpening knives and all kind of stuff.
All kind of stuff. We was just talking about that.
So it's like, and we was, and when we was on the streets, we didn't think about the things that we may go through or have to go through if we wind up in prison. But we didn't think we were gonna go to prison, right? So even hurting your parents. So at what moment that you realized that your actions caused some harm to the victims, their family, as well as your family, because everybody suffered.
Let me tell you something about that, man. So me and my boy Rick Godfrey, we was this is the year 2000, and they was gonna transfer both of us to Pelican Bay. It was blacks and Hispanics in the war, and you know, me and Rick, we ran to the other section trying to score, but it was white dudes in there instead, in the showers instead. So they like, y'all up out of here. So I start writing my granny. Hey, they talking about sending me to Pelican Bay, and
Hardship letter.
She wrote death on them. So they called me down. They like, hey, we made a mistake with your paperwork, so we not gonna transfer you. But I knew my granny was on them. I tell my boy, hey, get at your people, because he was my cellmate at the time. So anyway, he did, and they ended up sending him out. So I'm in the cell by myself. Now, my transcripts, you know, we always got my transcripts, but I never really wanted to read them, you know, because I always felt that guilt, you know, and I used y'all to help me cover that guilt, you know, by saying, you know, and y'all, hey, that's in the game. That's what happens, you know. So, but when I was in the cell, we was on lockdown, and I said, let me go through my transcripts, I'm bored as hell. So I start going through my transcripts, and one of the officers who was assigned to take my victim's mother to Brookside Hospital, where he was at, he gave his, you know, supplemental report, and he said on there, the victim's mother, named Karen Brown, she asked him, is my son gonna be okay? And it made me think about when I was 6 years old, I was at that same hospital at Brookside having a bad asthma attack. And I was getting transferred to Children's Hospital in Oakland, and I remember them putting me in an ambulance, and I seen my mom crying, and she asked the paramedic that was driving, she said, is my son gonna be okay? It made me think about that, and I'm like, wow, man, his mother is going to the hospital to get the bad news. You know, I didn't even know I murdered this man on his birthday. I didn't know he was his mama's only child. You know, and his mom died soon after. That's all she had.
Wow. Yeah. That's deep.
Man. So, when I started reading those transcripts, man, I started crying, and I hadn't cried in years and years, and I started talking to myself when I was crying. I was like, bruh, get yourself together. I'm calling myself certain names, like you punking out. You know what I'm saying? Like, bruh had that coming. I couldn't stop crying. And at that time, I said, if I don't got to, I don't want to physically harm nobody else, man. Because just like, even he was out there, I was at no matter. And I tell these young people, you ain't never just living for you. It ain't never just you.
Exactly.
Whatever happened to you, whoever love you is going to be crushed. Whether you go to jail, whether you die, get shot, whatever. You never just living for yourself. So that was my turning point, at that moment. So, I kind of did get into a little other stuff after that, but it was never like nothing to prove myself as it was before, because, we see what's going on now. It's all about clout.
Yeah.
It's all about recognition, and out here in there, we'll hurt people just so people can say, hey, he about it. And I mean, just imagine that, our mindset with that. I'm going to go put in some work just so people could talk about me. I'm going to go destroy a life and a whole family just because I want clout.
If I don't mind me jumping in, because you made me tear up on something what you said. You talking about the ripple effect.
Yeah. Exactly.
The ripple effect, man, it's like, you made me think about when you were talking about that mother running about her child, right? It also made me think about on the flip side of what we could have been. What they say, imminent danger. When that happened and we was removed and we was gone for so long, we kind of, when I got back, the hopes and dreams that I just see in my mother's eyes about, her child. Because I was the one in my family that was real academically sound, good, doing swimming, had that promise of being something. Because all our parents want us to be something, right? To carry on the generation. And when it got cut off, that's when my mind went, and it made me tear up because what we could have been, like you said, I was a star athlete, where you could have been, and your criminal thinking led to a criminal lifestyle, deterred you, and you went through this way, right? And that made me weep too about the family and ourselves, like how extremely proud we are, right? But our journey was real, right? I just want to say to you in regards to that, and I guess I'm gonna pose a question to you. Do you ever think about what you could have been? Was that that moment when you was reading them transcripts?
Man, all the time. Even when we was doing our time, I always thought about that, Hamza. I always thought about that. I thought about that. Even when we was cellies in the youth authority. Yes. You remember us being out there playing football, Dorm 5 out there at NRCC?
And how good it felt when we won the championship.
Listen, man, I always thought about what I could have been. I always thought about, like, damn, man, I'm missing my opportunity now. They say only like 2% of, high school, college athletes make it to the pros and all that. And everybody think that they could have made it to a certain level. I'm not saying that I could have or nothing like that. But that was my dream. So I always thought about that, like, all the time.
Yeah,
I still do today. That's probably why I go all the 49 games.
But I think too, we I'm gonna say it. We forced our family to change face.
Okay.
That's what I was getting to.
Okay.
Like, my mom don't look at me before she may God protect her soul, but we made her change face. We made our, like, what they could have. We made that. We changed it, and they had to accept us in that situation. I know that was hard for you, Father.
Yeah, very hard.
You know what I mean?
Especially mamas when they have boys. My little man, what my little man gonna be when they get, and that's them coming to court case, coming to visit us in jail and so on and so forth. They didn't think that, they taking care of us all the way till we a certain age, and then we go to jail and put more pressure on them. and they got to look out for us again on that stuff. Mama, you got.
Were you in a cell by yourself when you started reading? Were you alone?
I think I started reading more, a few trips to the hole.
I'm talking, when you start reading those transcripts, you open them up.
Oh, yeah.
At that point in time.
Yeah, I was in the cell by myself, and I think that's probably why, and that's why I read them. But I think, it gave me that opening to start, letting everything out and start
The
crying.
reason I ask because we have so many voices and we have so many different things that's taking our attention away from that what's needed and that what is important, what should be important to us. And so once we sit back and come to a realization and a looking, take that introspection, who am I today? Open up and say, damn, I was my mama only son. I took a mom only son from her. And that shame and that guilt, it was deeply penetrated, but we avoided with the denial of the pompous who I am at that particular time. And being surrounded by those external factors, our so-called friends, homeboys, partners, whoever it is, man, you got to live up to this.
Yeah.
Hell with that, because that was that code, that was that environment, what we was addicted to. But in reality, once we turned everything off and that cell door closed or that room door, you got to face everything you ever did. And then answer, because now your subconscious mind is talking to your consciousness, what you could never run away from.
Exactly.
And then it hits. And then once it hits, now it come to realization, now who you are. Now I got to accept what I did yesterday, what I did before. Now once I accept it, how do I change that thinking?
Exactly.
What do I got to go through to change that thinking? I got to sit back and tear all them layers of that falsehood off of me and become my true self, who I am today, what God created me to be and to do. And that man gave you the Bible, said, read that.
Yeah, it was deep.
Yeah.
real.
And it ain't about what the next person thinks.
Hey, but I can say this too, though, man. Had I not went through any of that stuff, man, I wouldn't be sitting here today.
Yeah, most definitely.
I wouldn't be about these youth today.
Absolutely.
I don't think so. I think that walk did something for me.
Quick question about the youth. You part of organization ONS.
Yeah.
Great organization. How you become a part of that, and how has that helped you change your life to affect them youth?
Well, when I was in San Quentin, we started a group called the Richmond Project.
I used to watch it from the PN.
Okay, the Richmond Project. And we run classes for younger inmates, 18, 19, 20 years old. And we talk about some of the subjects that we know that got us caught up, peer pressure, self-esteem, self-awareness, all that. And from there, I was like, hey, I want to get out and I want to do this. I want to get out and I want to do this. So soon as I get out, man, God bless me. I mean, the first day I was out, brother from ONS, James Houston, came to my house.
That's what's up.
And he's like, hey, bro, ain't you from...
Shout out to James.
Shout out to
Yes,
James.
sir.
Hey, brother, ain't you from this part of Richmond? Yeah, he's like, man, we got some youngsters over here, man, that we need. We can't break through them. So it just happened that, they was the kids of the people I grew up with. And so we got that whole little crew, man. And, it's been on and popping since 2017, man. You could give me $1 trillion. I can't even think about anything else I want to do in my life. I don't think about no big old house on a hill. You know what I'm saying? None of that stuff. No hella ass fancy car, because I know at the end of the day, this is what it is right here.
Exactly.
Exactly. This is what it is. I mean, servitude, man.
Absolutely.
Once you become a servant, man, your life ain't never boring, man.
Exactly.
Ever.
It ain't ever boring, bro.
Ever.
Yeah.
Ever.
Let me
Go ahead.
Let me say this, because we gotta wrap this up, right? I just want to say this, J-Bo. We go way back. We was pups and old folks, and I know who you was, and I know who you are now, and I just want to say I'm proud of you for making that change.
Man,
definitely.
thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely. Before we
And you
close
too.
out, we got to give a shout out to Chevron, our sponsor. Shout out to Chevron. And being a mentor is not something that we can just choose to be. You know, we go into that direction, but it's the youth or the child or the kid who have to have that acceptance. Say, man, I want you. I want you to somewhat become my father, my parent, a person in my life that I never had. Every day we come out of juvenile hall on certain days, right? This guy right here get a phone call from a young man. Talk about, where you at, man?
You know,
Where you at?
that's
That's
because daddy ain't
powerful.
there. That's raw.
Yeah, so
That's powerful.
You know, but and I'll end with this too, because I think this is very important for those listeners, right, and those potential mentors, because we want everybody to do it, if that's the case. But you have to get over yourself, meaning that, you know, just like the board told us, if you can't talk about the dude that you once was, then you ain't healed, you ain't over.
That's right.
We don't trust that dude. If you can't throw that dude under the bus and talk about the wrong that person did that created your life to be where it's at right now, changing the projectile, as they say, then you ain't ready. You know what I mean? And I couldn't figure that out when they used to get at me with that, because I thought I was okay. I thought, you know, I'd change a few things and I'd be okay. You know, I was Cyrene American Dream. Right? In my mind, you know, ain't nothing wrong with Cy, but the whole corrupt my approach and my corrupt mindset, the criminal thinking, it transformed me have a criminal lifestyle is what they was talking about. And that's what we don't trust about you. Because if you think certain things are okay, no, your whole get out was faulty. So this a reminder just to, you know, when you're dealing with the young youth, right, you got to be real, for real about your style, about who you are, and be able to talk about who you were. And then
that's-
show them
and that's
who you
what
are
they
now.
respect.
That's what they respect.
Sally is when you talk about, and that's how you wrap them up. You talk about who you used to be because they can relate.
Relate.
Especially that's when they at. You know, they can relate to, you know, hey, you know, I done been in jail. I done squeezed some triggers. I done laid some people down. All the stuff.
Yep.
You know, and that's kind of like bring them into the fold real tough.
Yeah.
Because he like, oh, he just like me. He just a little older. Or he used to be. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Because, you know, just this past Friday, we were telling some young men, you know, we about to bring some more mentors in inside juvenile hall to be in the classes. And they said, man, they better not be no lames.
Right there.
Because you have to be able to connect.
Yeah.
They only want to be around like-minded people with
That's
them.
it.
Even if it's, I mean, when I say like-minded, not meaning that we think exactly how they think, but we was once there and we could understand them.
That's key. Understand, like Dante said, we was here yesterday, but today we here, and we changed. Now we can really take them through the process of change, but we also could take them through the process. If you do not change, it's three things. Three things, man. Death, your death, somebody else death, or long-term incarceration, what you do not want. We are 100 Years Enterprise. We'll wrap this up, season 6, episode 1. And again, thank you, Jason Lamont Green, for coming over here, man. Yeah, 49er fan.
Die hard, baby.
Yes, man. We think, man, this is a great podcast, man. We appreciate you, my brother.
Man, thank you. I appreciate you, brothers, too, man. Keep it going, man. I'm glad I'm seeing this when y'all first started.
Yes.
You know, so y'all only gonna get higher. But I can remember when they, oh man, you know, like sometimes when you meet a certain plateau, people think you just come out of nowhere. But you hear the people that made it be like, nah, y'all don't understand what we've been through. Or what I've been through. I got to see it from the ground up.
Yeah, you have.
Yes.
You know what? I know we got to go, but I got one last question about your acclimation. How was it with your family, friends, old associates, relationships when you came and they saw your transformation from a young boy, a lost young boy, to a man, now to a grown and mature man? How was it for them, and how did you accept that, and how did they accept you?
They was very happy. And the reason why I say that, because all these people poured into me at some point in my life over and over again, you know. And I know that they would like to think too that it's, and I believe so, that, hey, it finally did come around.
Yes.
you know, because just real. Well, I don't know.
Go ahead.
You heard about you heard the story of the bamboo tree, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
But tell us about it.
Okay. So dude came out. He wanted to grow a bamboo tree, you know. So he put some seeds in the ground in his front yard, and there wasn't nothing but dirt. And he came out and he watered that dirt every day, every single day. You know what I'm saying? So 4 or 5 months, 6 months down the line, his neighbors come out and they like, man, you still watering that dirt?
Yeah.
What's going on with that dirt? You know? And he keep on watering. He been watering that dirt every year for 5 years, every single day, all the way up until 5 years. Finally, when that 5th year came, that bamboo shot up 90 feet.
What year?
He get 5th year.
5th year.
5th year, that bamboo shot up 90 feet. See, while he was watering it, it was getting grounded up in there, and it was planting roots deep down in there, deep down in the ground. So when it shot up, it was rooted down. So with these young people, even with me, you know, sometimes we may lose our patience. Some people may lose their patience with us, but if you just keep on watering it, you never know. You could it just be building.
Exactly.
You know, and eventually one day you may shoot up, you know, or they may shoot up 90 feet.
Exactly.
Keep on watering it every day.
Before we wrap it up.
I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, brothers.
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate it. Again, honor and pleasure, man.
Definitely.
Again, man, 100 Years Enterprise, man. Again, 100 Years Enterprise podcast, man. Again, we closing out with the season close. Oh, you can't hear me? I'm up. Okay, cool. 100 Years Enterprise, man. We closing out, man, with our guest, Jason.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean? And
Where can they find us at?
100 Years, you can find us on YouTube. 100 Years Enterprise, you can find us on what was the other space?
Apple Podcasts.
And Dante, what was the other one?
Instagram.
And then
100 years DLP Instagram. Follow
Apple
us.
Podcasts, Spotify.
we also on audio. You can hear us on audio on Spotify. Get kind of also on 100 Years our website, 100years.biz. And what's that on Outlook too?
But well, Outlook, nah. But yes, you can find us on Twitter. What's called X now. 100 Years Enterprise.
That's right. It is called X now.
Tap
too.
in. 100 years Enterprise.
Thank you very
And
much.
shout out to Chevron. Peace out, my man Gabe,
Peace out.
G26 Productions, Gabe the Funk behind the camera. We appreciate you, Gabe.